about community engagement in the digital age. Just a disclaimer, I'm not an engagement specialist, so this is more from a perspective of a technologist working in the space of combining technology with planning. So my presentation will mostly be about community engagement in the context of planning and local authorities. So 3 parts to my presentation, in looking at engagement today. What are some issues? How is it done? Second part, asking the question, can technology make a difference? And lastly, closing by considering what's needed to get to a better future when it comes to implementing technology into engaging communities. So just a brief sort of consideration on how engagement is done today. It is probably, we can all agree that it is less than perfect. I took this quote from a blog post from an engagement specialist who works at a big engineering firm. And she basically said people who tend to engage in local authority matters, built environment, planning issues, who come to town hall meetings and participate in consultations tend to fall under one of 3 categories: retirees and people with time on their hands, people who stand to lose something of value to them, and people who are passionate about a cause or issue. And the issue here is that the opinions and feedback that we get are not representative of the broader population. They tend to skew results towards people who really have something to say, and that is not ideal. And therefore, people who do participate end up getting labeled as, you know, the usual suspects, or people with NIMBYist tendencies, anti-development, narrow-minded, et cetera, which is, you know, not great for anyone involved. And there are a number of reasons why we have this happening today. First of all is how we reach our citizens to participate. These are, you know, a collection of photos of the infamous planning notices that we laminate and tie to lampposts. And it is really mind-boggling that in today's day and age, this is sort of the primary way in which we expect our citizens to engage with planning issues, to learn first about, you know, what major development is happening on their street, et cetera. And, you know, they're not very effective, to say the least. And let's say, you know, you for some miraculous reason, you do take notice of the planning notice and you try and interpret and comprehend what the notice is trying to tell you. And you realize it is incredibly complex, full of jargons. It is not for you to try and understand or, you know, picture what it is that is going on. So I think we have an issue with complexity in addition to the issue with reach. And then there are a whole host of other reasons why we're not doing such a great job at engaging with our citizens, especially when it comes to young people. It's not just about how, you know, local authorities reach or how easily they convey the information. It's also about young people themselves. It's really hard to, you know, get their attention and get them to care. For a number of reasons, planning is, you know, maybe not the sexiest of topics when it comes to political issues. And also, you know, today's young people, especially in cities like London and other major cities, they're so transitory, and they, you know, stay in one place for maybe 6 months and up to a couple of years at a time, and it's very hard to ask them to dedicate their time and energy towards shaping, you know, the built environment around them when they have very little kind of commitment to the local community. And lastly, one reason could be this sense of frustration that, you know, it already is a done deal. These consultations, they're mostly PR exercises that developers and their consultants do as a tick box exercise. And so there's a real sense of disempowerment when it comes to participating in these events. So, second part of the presentation, asking the question, can technology make a difference? In principle, yes. So throughout this part, I'll just kind of run through some of the innovations that I've come across in my work and what they've been doing. So The Guardian, I think this was early last year, ran a piece called Tinder for Cities, How Tech is Making Urban Planning More Inclusive. And my company was featured in this article alongside some other innovations, such as Cityswipe. So Cityswipe was an app that was developed to be used in downtown Santa Monica to ask citizens and visitors very simple questions that could feed back into the local plan making process and some of the the projects that they had going on in the area, but basically using an interface that imitates a very popular dating app, Tinder. So it's very easy to reach the digital savvy sort of younger generation to get their input on what they want in downtown Santa Monica. So asking questions like, is it easy to walk downtown? Yes or no, you can swipe in and give your answer. Is this building appropriate for downtown? Yes or no. Showing pictures of benches and asking, would you like more of this? Yes or no. Pictures of parks and programs. Would you like more of this? Yes or no. So basically, planning doesn't have to be hundreds of pages of planning documents and reports. You can really break it down to digestible questions and try and get people to engage in fun ways. And then another example I have here is Commonplace, which is quite popular and being used increasingly more by local authorities. This is quite an innovative online consultation platform where local authorities are able to run consultations on local plan documents or newly proposed developments. And what this enables users and citizens to do is really sort of visualize instantly the impact of the development. So instead of reading lines and lines of descriptions about what's happening, erection of I don't know how many story building, blah blah blah, it instantly provides you with a picture of before and after, and also provides you certain viewpoints looking at the development so that you can really get a feel for what this newly proposed development will do for your area, and give your input that way. And on the flip side, for local authorities running the consultation, this is also very helpful because the platform generates instant analytics reports for local authorities to then assess. So, which is a big win on the efficiency front, because even today we have local authority officers transcribing handwritten letters, into their computer databases, which is a lot of lost time. So Commonplace produced this graph showing just how much of the younger generation they were able to capture using their platform to run consultations. So as you can see, compared to the traditional conventional way of conducting consultations, there was a dramatic increase in participation from people in their 30s, people in their 40s, and certainly people in their 20s. And this is great that they're able to capture a demographic that was not previously captured. As expected, we do not see as much participation on a digital platform like Commonplace from the older generation. So this goes to show that, again, technology-based consultation is not here yet to replace conventional ways of consultation, but you certainly can deploy them in tandem to capture as much of the citizen base as you can. And this is a small plug for what we do. So at Urban Intelligence, we try and make a difference using technology by breaking down complexity. So we are pulling together information related to planning and the built environment that's currently disaggregated and sort of in a lot of different places. It's very difficult for professionals to locate and understand this information. So you can imagine just how much more sort of impenetrable this is for average citizens. So what we do is we try and pull all of this information together so you have a central database of this kind of information. So as you can see here, that's a screenshot of the policies map that we have on Howard. So when you go to local authority websites, traditionally you see the policies map that stops at the boundary of the local authority. But here we sort of enable our users to get a region-wide feel for what's going on and access information in a central place. And on the right-hand side, that's our effort towards breaking down the complexity further. So, there are a lot of policy designations in our local plans, but what do they really mean? Let's go past the jargon. So if you're an architect, what does a certain policy designation mean to you? If you're a citizen, what does a certain policy designation mean for you? So that's what we're doing using technology to break down some of the complexity. Technology can also make a difference by contributing a lot in terms of visualization. So ViewCity is a company that does 3D models of cities. And they've developed this feature where, together with the current cityscape, you're able to plop in models of the proposed development, so you can assess, daylight, sunlight things, and run wind analyses, and just be able to get a sense for what the proposed developments will do. And on the right-hand side, we have another example. This is utilizing AR, VR technology, so citizens or whoever can walk around with a tablet and point their camera at a site of proposed development and be able to see real-time, sort of real context, the proposed development placed in the site. So you can actually get a feel for what it is that's going to happen, as opposed to being sort of attacked with a notice that says, how will this affect you? Or seeing on a map a red line and you're wondering, what is